Hi, I'm Melanie Ann Phillips, co-creator of the Dramatica theory and software, and welcome to another exciting episode of Dramatica Unplugged, the ongoing series of programs that gives you the secrets of story structure and storytelling to help you improve your writing with or without using the Dramatica software. Tonight's program is entitled Theme Part 1. Now, theme. What is theme? Well, if you ask a dozen different authors what theme is, you'll get a dozen different answers. You'll get some words about premise, something about the subject matter, the topic, value standards, morals, perhaps the moral of the story or the message even would be included. In fact, although theme is one of the best known aspects of story structure, it's also one of the least understood, or at least the one that has the smallest number of people agreeing on what it actually means. You look at story structure in general. Most authors have a pretty good sense of when a character is working or isn't, even though they may not know how to fix it. They have a pretty good idea of how to go about structuring a plot. They also know what genre they're working in. But the problems they have with their stories is that they're coming apart at the themes. All seriousness aside though, folks, theme is an area that affects the audience's emotions more than any other. It is the place in which the audience's heart resides. And if you don't understand what theme is or how to use it, you're either going to leave most of the heart out of your story, or you're going to be putting false beats in the heart of your story that the audience either can't follow or that gives them an emotional break so that they aren't able to go with your characters or go with your value standards. At best, most authors manage to achieve something of a black and white theme, where this is all good, that's all bad, this is right, that's wrong. And they hit you over the head with it by the end of the story. So there's at least a theme, but it's so ham-handed and obvious that it doesn't change anyone in the audience, it doesn't affect them. Rather, it simply illustrates what the author thought about this, and the audience still draws its own conclusions. Well, the reason that theme is so hard to pin down for so many people is that it's not really just one thing. Theme is what the story is about, and it's also the emotional argument that tries to bring the audience to a point that they will feel about that subject matter the way the author wants them to. So part of it is, this is what the story is talking about. This is the area we're investigating, the subject matter. And the other part is leading the audience so that they follow the author to an emotional conclusion about what happened in the story. For example, what the story is about, the topic, for some people might call it, would be man's inhumanity to man. Or this story is all about death, dealing with death. Okay, dealing with death doesn't have any point of view attached to it. It's simply saying this is what we're talking about, dealing with death. But what are the ways of dealing with death? And which ones are better than others? Which is the best of all the ways of dealing with death? Which is the worst? All these things we don't know when we just say that our topic is about death. But if you have an emotional argument that says, holding on to someone you've lost too long will lead to unhappiness, well, then you've made an argument. You actually haven't made the argument yet. You've made a statement saying, this is what will happen. But in the end, how do you prove that to your audience? Well, we're going to divide the exploration of theme in our class here, in Dramatica Unplugged, into two parts. Tonight we'll be exploring how to create, how to define, how to find your thematic topic, what your story is about subject matter-wise, and how to narrow that down from a very broad subject to a very specific one. And second, next week in part 2 of theme, we're going to be exploring how to create a thematic argument, how to determine what you want your audience to feel, what value standards you want them to see as being the best to use, what point of view you'd like them to adopt by the end of the story regarding the subject matter, and then how to structure your thematic argument so that they are led there in a way that they cannot help but come around to your point of view by the end of the story.